Kim Yo Jong, the sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and a senior official in the country's ruling party, has dismissed a proposal of economic aid from Seoul in exchange for abandoning its nuclear arsenal, calling the idea an absurd dream. Kim gave a fiery denunciation of South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol in comments carried by state media on Thursday, blasting him for a recent speech marking the end of Japan's occupation of the peninsula in 1945, in which he also suggested an audacious plan for North Korea's denuclearization. It would have been more favorable for his image to shut his mouth, rather than talking nonsense as he had nothing better to say, she said, adding, "I'm only saying this today because the South seems to be very eager to know of our reaction."
The mayor of Sevastopol, Crimea's largest city, has reported that a Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicle was shot down by air defense systems in the vicinity of the city airport. According to preliminary data, recently in the vicinity of the Belbek airfield an unmanned aerial vehicle was shot down by air defense systems, Mikhail Razvozhev posted on his Telegram channel late on Thursday. The official added that there have been no reports of casualties or material damage as a result of the incident.
The United Nations Security Council (UNSC) is in urgent need of reform in order to safeguard international security and peace, provide solutions to global conflicts and save lives, a panel of academics and scholars said in discussions held in London. Organized by Turkey's Communications Directorate entitled United Nations Security Council Reform, a new approach to reconstructing the international order, the conference heard speeches from a variety of senior scholars and academics well versed in international relations who all see the need for the reform of global governance. The initiative will be broadcasted to audiences across the world, with similar events being held in France, the US, Japan, and South Korea. The aim of the initiative is to raise awareness and to foster an atmosphere of critical thinking and solution-driven ideas that would help reform the UN in a realistic and practical way. The UN, with this structure, is not on the side of the weak, the victim, or the righteous, but rather on the side of its 5 powerful permanent members. With its current structure, the UN is unable to speak out against the oppressor. The main reason for this is the problems in the institutional structure of the organization. It is a fact that Asian, Latin American and African countries are flagrantly excluded from representation in the UN Security Council, said Communications Director Faretta Knowlton.
China has issued its first national drought alert of the year as authorities battle forest fires and mobilize specialist teams to protect crops from scorching temperatures across the Yangtze River basin. The national yellow alert, issued late on Thursday, is 2 notches short of the most serious warning on Beijing's scale. It comes after regions from Sichuan in the southwest to Shanghai in the Yangtze Delta have experienced weeks of extreme heat, with government officials repeatedly citing global climate change as the cause. In one of the Yangtze's important flood basins in central China's Jiangxi province, the Poyang Lake has now shrunk to a quarter of its normal size for this time of year, state news agency Xinhua said on Thursday. The Water Resources Ministry has instructed drought-hit agricultural regions to draw up rotas determining who can access supplies at any particular time, to ensure they do not run out. According to data from China's emergency ministry late on Thursday, high temperatures in July alone caused direct economic losses of 2.73 billion yuan, $400 million, affecting 5.5 million people.
Pakistan has categorically rejected India's pre-poll rigging attempts in occupied Jammu and Kashmir and called on the international community to take cognizance of its attempts at effecting illegal demographic changes in the region. In a statement issued on Friday, the Foreign Office spokesperson said, Pakistan categorically rejects the deliberate Indian attempts of pre-poll rigging and overt manipulation in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The statement said that the latest act of permitting temporary residents in the occupied region to register as voters is a clear manifestation of the treacherous Indian design to influence the outcome of so-called elections in the territory. Pakistan reiterates its complete rejection of India's entire litany of steps aimed at turning the Muslim majority in occupied Jammu and Kashmir into a minority, including the formulation of the so-called delimitation commission and its baseless report, the issuance of fake Kashmiri domiciles to millions of outsiders, and changes in the property laws, the faux statement read. Despite all reprehensible measures that have followed the illegal and unilateral actions of August 5, 2019, India will not be able to break the will of the Kashmiri people or to mislead the world community, the faux said. India stripped semi-autonomy from occupied Jammu and Kashmir in 2019, changing the Indian constitution to allow non-Kashmiris to vote and own land there. Pakistan has called on India to desist from all actions in occupied Jammu and Kashmir that violate the international law, the UN Charter, and the Fourth Geneva Convention. Furthermore, it has demanded that India release all political prisoners detained on trumped-up charges, halt human rights violations in the occupied Jammu and Kashmir, lift the brutal military siege, and let the Kashmiris exercise their legitimate right to self-determination as stipulated in the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. Pakistan has appealed to the international community to take immediate cognizance of the blatant Indian attempts at effecting illegal demographic changes in the occupied Jammu and Kashmir and to hold India to account.
Be aware with the world. APN Broadcast Service.